Hi YouTube! We are gathered here today, surrounded by our family and friends, to talk about something very wonderful. I have very recently been in contact with one of my all-time favorite video game accessory makers in the entire industry, one that I have personally purchased many products from and been very happy with. Super glad to be working with them. Hori. And they've sent me a few of their newest products, some samples of those, and we're going to take a look at them today. Today we're actually only going to be talking about the Split Pad Pro, which is Daemon X Machina branded. Daemon X Machina came out mid last year, late last year. It's basically a mech fighting game, shooter, flying. I don't really know how to describe it apparently. The game itself is definitely something to look into, but we won't get into that today. What we will get into is this Split Pad Pro, which is made by Hori. It's one of very few third-party Joy-Con replacements. So there's a large number of Pro controller replacements or third-party controllers that are completely separate, but the Split Pad Pro is unique in that it can be used to replace your Joy-Cons. So we're gonna look into this, we're gonna open it up and see how these things tick. Maybe not that, because I'm not quite smart enough for that, but we will be able to see whether or not I enjoy using them and how exactly they function on the Switch. I do want to mention that Hori has also sent me some of the brand new, not yet out, Animal Crossing New Horizons accessories, which I'm super excited about. I have here the Duraflexi protector case for the Switch Lite. Very exciting, as well as the vault case, which can be used for the Switch or the Switch Lite, but I am not going to be looking at these in today's video. That video is going to be up in just a few days. So if you're interested in the Animal Crossing New Horizons accessories, please give me a subscribe and you'll see those videos pretty shortly. In the meantime, let's open up this bad boy and see what we're working with. So the box itself pretty much shows exactly what this accessory is. You've got the left and the right quote-unquote Joy-Cons, but they're now basically a split Pro controller, a Split Pad Pro. So they're much larger looking than a traditional Joy-Con. They're themed to be Daemon X Machina colors and styles, so there's that going for it if you're into that style. A few other selling points that we'll get a better look at as soon as we open this up. There is a D-pad on this controller rather than the buttons that function as a D-pad on the Joy-Con, and there's also programmable rear triggers. So let's see what we got in here. Oh. Leave it to me to open it upside down. There is an instruction manual that came with it. I assume that this will be a little bit helpful for certain features like the programmable buttons, how to use the turbo functions. Okay, so there's a turbo hold function that allows continuous rapid fire. Definitely helpful for a game like Daemon X Machina. Okay. Instructions aside, let's take a look at these puppies here. So here they are, not attached to the Switch. There's no question they are very much definitely larger than regular Joy-Cons. So you can see there is a big size difference. The Joy-Cons themselves are often criticized as being too small for some people's hands. For me, they're a good size for me, so it doesn't bother me too much, but they're not really, made to form around your hand. The Split Pad Pro, on the other hand, clearly is. It's got the shape of your hand in the grip built in, no question. They're by and afar more comfortable when I'm just holding them like this compared to the Joy-Cons. But let's see how they actually perform. They do feel pretty light in my hands, which doesn't mean anything really positive or negative. Just a comment. They feel lighter than the other Joy-Cons. Let's see if we get the satisfying click like you do with a Joy-Con. Yep, okay, that's good. And the left one. All right. Ooh, okay. No question, this makes the Switch pretty significantly wider than it was before. Yeah, these analog sticks are beautiful. They have a real spring to their step, if you can tell. They're long enough that you've got some real good precision movements on it, and they're very, very, very smooth. I like these a whole lot. I should note that I did absolutely nothing special to actually pair these controllers. I just plugged them in and they were good to go. If you're having pairing issues, you can pair them when they're not connected to the Switch, but it should be as easy as plug and play in this instance. I also just want to double check. I want to see if this little nub, these two nubs rather, on the bottom of the Switch make it so that the Switch won't dock. We're good. Yeah, that's in there. So you can still dock your system, no problem, inside the dock with the Split Pad Pros on. You can keep them on indefinitely and then plop it out whenever you're ready to go. Okay, so we've gotten a good idea of the look of it, the feel of it. Pretty happy with everything so far, but let's try some of these features that are really touted, such as the turbo and the assigned buttons. So on the regular Joy-Cons, you do have left and right triggers, and you have left rear and right rear triggers, which are the two larger triggers in the back. What is new on this controller is on the back, we also have the FR and the FL triggers. These do not exist on Nintendo official controllers or Joy-Cons. Holding the controller, those two triggers are very much in an accessible place while playing. I enjoy this very much. So I would say even if you aren't interested in some of the extra features, these are a fantastic replacement for Joy-Cons in general. They retail about $50, I believe, which is $30 cheaper than you can get a pair of Joy-Cons from Nintendo. They do lack a few features, so I'm not saying that these are 100% replacements. The HD Rumble, Joy-Cons from Nintendo do have HD Rumble, and these do not, which I believe is where most of the weight is away from. The other feature I believe is missing is the Amiibo support, the NFC chip reader, so you won't be able to read Amiibo with these controllers. Now, for most of the games that you're going to be using this controller for, I don't think you're gonna miss the Amiibo reading capabilities, but it's still worth mentioning. And then the last feature that's missing, one that also contributes to the weight of these controllers being a bit lighter, is motion controls. So motion controls are not something you're going to get from the Split Pad Pro. But now let's look at the features that are included on the Split Pad Pro that are not included in normal Nintendo controllers or Joy-Cons. And those two features are the assign and the turbo buttons, which we have one of each on each side, on the left and the right Split Pad Pros. And what better game to test it on than Daemon X Machina? So for starters, let's try assigning some buttons. And remember, we're assigning the two triggers that are on the back, FR and FL, to one of the buttons on the front of our controller, or one of the triggers. In Daemon X Machina, one of the functions of the game is you're in this mech and you can fly, and you can control your flight using the B button normally. And to descend, you use the left analog stick. So one thing that I would really like to do, if we can, is assign the right FR trigger to the B button so that we can use that button to rise up, and I want to assign the left analog stick trigger to the FL button so we can use that button to descend back down. According to the manual, we just have to push the assign button and the button we want to assign. And the LED right above the assign button has lit up, so that should show that it's active. Let's go ahead and do the left analog trigger at the same time. Assign, push the button, and that one is lit up as well. In theory, now when we use the FR and FL triggers on the back of the controller, they should be assigned to make us fly and descend. Let's give it a shot. Yep. FR is fully functional, and let's see if we can descend. Woo! So already that improves my quality of life in this game pretty significantly. A+. I like that a whole lot. Of course, other people may choose to assign the buttons differently. Other people might want to use those FR and FL buttons as triggers for shooting or as a shield button. Depending on the game, you might want to assign those completely differently. Really, there's a lot of possibilities here. It doesn't have to be an action style game. It doesn't have to be something like Daemon X Machina. You could be playing a game like Stardew Valley and assign the FR button to open your menu, and you can assign the FL button to use your active item. Tons of possibilities here. So those two buttons are assigned. The next thing I want to try out is the turbo feature, the turbo button feature, and there is one on each controller. So if you aren't familiar with turbo functions in controllers, I'll do my best to explain to you, although I'm probably not the wisest person in this scenario. Essentially, turbo functions are the equivalent of you pushing the button over and over and over and over again at varying speeds, except you don't have to be the one pushing the button. The controller is essentially turning it on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off. The turbo function gives you the option to not have to do this, and instead just push turbo, and there it goes. But let's give it a shot. So we're gonna go ahead and try assigning the turbo function to the right trigger, the right ZR, right back trigger, and the ZL trigger. So those are my two firing fingers for my left and my right gun. Hold down the turbo button and then press the button that you want to set to turbo mode. In my case, it's the ZR button. Oh, it's flashing. So as you can see here, we have the turbo button flashing now, and my mech here is firing at will. He's not aiming right now, but you know, that's something that I guess I have to do on my own still. Makes sense. And no matter what I do, I'm not focused on shooting right now, but he's still going because that turbo button's going. And we can go ahead and assign the LR button to turbo as well. I don't know if you can tell, but there are two guns firing now, one in each hand. I love having the FL and FR buttons triggers as my flight mechanics here. It makes moving around a lot easier on me. Overall, super happy with the SplitPad Pro controllers. They feel good, they function really well. They're gonna make certain games a lot easier to play, and they look good too, so that's a bonus. Maybe if I had to give a downside, they do make the controller profile big, rather large, and this probably wouldn't fit in any existing Switch case. That doesn't mean that you couldn't travel with them. You could easily throw the Switch itself into a case and bring the controller separately, but these retail for significantly less than the regular Joy-Con controllers, a little bit more than half of the price, so that's a really good draw to it as well. If you're interested in your own pair of SplitPad Pro controllers, the link will be down in my description below. It's a link directly from Hori. It will show them that people actually watched this video, so if you're planning on purchasing, please use that. In terms of third-party Joy-Con replacements officially licensed by Nintendo, I think this is by and far your best option. There are certain functions of regular Joy-Cons that these don't replace. I'm not saying throw away your Joy-Cons and replace them with these, but these are definitely functional, they feel good, they look good, and I look forward to seeing what else we can do with them in some other games, like Animal Crossing. I think that'll be interesting. So thank you again to Hori for the products, thank you to you for watching, and let me know down below if the SplitPad Pro controllers are something that you are going to be picking up, that you're thinking about, that you have some uses for in mind. I'm really looking forward to getting some more usage on them. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Love you. Tiku, tiku, tiku.